Good evening and welcome to Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. How's everybody doing tonight? It's Tuesday instead of Monday. Yes, I know. I've been working hard and it's taking a toll. So I'm not quite as with it as I normally am. But that being said, I did get some really cool stuff in the mail today. I want to say thank you to LDA Brakes. There's my Barry Sanders flash. I also received a signed Levi on Wuzariki card and a numbered Jared Goff black card. It is number 13 of 25. So how was everybody's weekend? Did you guys have a good time? We had some pretty interesting things happen over the weekend. First and foremost, I want to give a moment of silence for Mr. Dwayne Haskins, former quarterback of the Washington football team, now the Commodores, and last year backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quinn Cook hopped in, says, No, I did not, pal. Oh. And this is my daughter, Danielle, also known as Cuttlebug1893. Worked all weekend. Quinn said he's still on the road to recovery. But you are home now, so that has to make it a little better, right, Quinn? That being said, say it's not so. I can't believe that I read this article. Detroit left out on teams who've inquired about draft prospect Malik Willis. I'm shocked, dismayed. I hear you, Quinn. I hope prayers up that everything gets better for you, buddy. I know about not being able to sleep, trust me. Hey, JB, nice collector's items you got in the mail there. I'm glad. So are we bringing Hutch in before the draft? I don't know if we are. I thought I heard they did already, but I don't know. He's not on the list of people they've seen, so I don't know. I still think he's the consensus number one draft prospect in the draft. It's between him, Neal, and Thibodeau. But yes, I am glad we're not inquiring about Malik Willis. So, that being said, what else is out there that we need to talk about? We have 18.2 million left in cap and 16.3 to sign the rookies. That leaves about 2 million. I think there's some restructures on the way because they said they want to extend Hawkinson and they also want to extend AO in the season. But that goes on next year's cap, so they can probably do that and not change what they make this year. And it really won't change what Hawk makes next year because he gets 9.3 on the option they already took on him. So there's that. So it looks like Hawk has 2 years to prove he can stay healthy here in Detroit. I would wait till next year to extend him myself. I don't know how you guys think. And I have my first hater in the podcast community. I'm flattered and dismayed at the same time, but that's okay. After draft, JB, any good depth we can get after the draft from leftover free agents, or would you just do it through undrafted free agents? The way Brad Holmes hits on undrafted free agents, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to be stuck with. We don't have any cap room after we sign the rookies. That's why they haven't made any more moves. I pretty much said Jared Davis was probably the last signing, and then they threw in Garrett Gilbert too, so it is what it is. But Garrett Gilbert also plays fullback, and he also plays tight end. He's a blocking / receiving tight end. So I think we're going to be hitting the UDFAs because they won't count against the cap. Oh, I know. I just don't think we're bringing anybody in. I don't think we're trading for anybody. We don't have the cap room. Got to fix my lighting for a second. There. But to be honest, we hit some gems last year in UDFAs. Well, it really depends on how much they sign. Whoever your guy is in the 51st position on the active roster or total cap that you spent, whatever that number is, as long as they're signed below that, they don't count against the cap. That's why only 51 players actually count against the cap. That's how that works. Everybody else, UDFAs, the last two guys on the active roster that are paid lower than them, that does not count. All right, my good buddy Chris Bolin. What's up, Crusher? Yo, good evening, gentlemen. How do you feel about Detroit Lions not inquiring on Malik Willis, Chris? I'm good with that. I figured you would be. Right now, I want to take a second and say thank you to my sponsor, A1 Tire and Auto Repair and TNT Auto Sales. They are located on Old Cuckolin near Euclid. We also have A1 Tire on Broadway and A1 Tire where I work in Saginaw and Genesee. So if you need tires, come on in and see me. I like our quarterback. And you know what? Let me show you something there, Chris. I do too. I got Levi O and Jared Goff, 13 of 25. Yes, I am that sports fan. I buy memorabilia when I can. Not much. I can't afford a lot. But they're not my sponsor. They haven't sponsored me because they sponsor their own podcast, but I'm going to give them. Hey, John Robinson's in here from YouTube. How you doing there, buddy? But I've won some really cool stuff through LDA Breaks. So look them up on Facebook. LDA Breaks in Sports Memorabilia. I got my Amon-Ra St. Brown. I still feel we can find someone late that can take over for one of those scrubs we call backups. Well, you know what? Our backups weren't as big as scrubs other than the quarterbacks. I hope we find a better returner than Khalif Raymond. I still think we should try to poach Jason Huntley off of Philadelphia Eagles practice squad back because he'd be a great punt returner. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are going to fall in this draft. And I'm not talking the top tier guys. I'm not talking Desmond Ridder. I'm not talking Matt Corral. I'm not talking Kenny Pickett. Because From what I'm hearing, they're not picking one in the first 3 rounds. If they do, so be it. I'd rather them not. I'd rather them focus. I would rather them focus on the defense and wide receivers in the first 3 rounds. We have 5 picks there. You could get one more wide receiver with height and speed to match up with Shark and Reynolds and Amon-Ra and Cephas and make it 5 deep. Alec Pierce, Christian Watson. You could even go late round. Oh, Stephen King pops in and says, I forgot about Jason Huntley. And you agree with me on that? Awesome, Chris. I like Jack Cohn out of Notre Dame. There's that big some bitch. 6'6" and 260-pound Cole Kelly. That's a quarterback. But Jack Cohn, De'Aaron King, let's see, Skylar Thompson. Then you can go into UDFAs, and there's a couple guys that'll be there. Chris Boland's going, ooh, let me see that guy, Cole Kelly. And that's Kelley. Yeah, 6'6" and 260 pounds. That's a big some bitch. But the guy I would love to see be brought in as a UDFA to give some competition to the quarterback room, and as far as the backups, Eric Barriere out of Eastern Washington University. He's a dual threat QB who's more accurate than a couple of the other ones that aren't heard of because he played in the FCS. That kid looks like something special. Micro Mike, yo, what's up, buddy? Good to see you guys. My mock draft. Hopefully he falls. What's good, man? Oh, just talking about a little Lions. I got my memorabilia in the mail today that I'm stoked about. I got a mini helmet flash signed by Barry Sanders. I got a signed Levi Onwuzurike card. I got my Jared Goff 13/25 black card all through Panini. Received all of them through Dan Leonard of LDA Breaks. Good buddy of mine. One of my co-hosts when I was with We Are Lions Nation. I've got an Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love the Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let me show you guys that one. That baby's fire. Wait to the offseason. Some top 10 QB will become disgruntled with management, and we will have the draft capital to do it. Love it, man. That is badass. Yes, it is. I love it. I mean, and LDA Breaks, it's kind of like a raffle. You either pick it on a random division or random team, or you pick your team and get multiple other teams, or they do it just like $9 a team or $15 a team, and you get to get in a break to try to win a signed memorabilia. If your team's in there, or you're the guy that they pick up and is in a college uniform or helmet, you get that one. Stephen King says, nice. Just a sec, guys. I got to show you the berry again. Just because I love this thing. How cool is that? Even has a visor, has clips and bumpers on it, the whole 9 yards. My dude. There's only one guy that calls me my dude. Is that Curtis Steele or is this Luke G? That's the only 2 people that says my dude. Oh, well, I am currently sitting at 59 subscribers. So if you can, jump over to YouTube, subscribe, like, and share, please, wherever you're at. If you're in any other Lions groups or if you just want to share it on your wall. Oh, I'm wrong. Ooh. Well, it says Facebook user, so I don't know who you are right now. Hey, I got full lighting now. That's fantastic. Oh. But I'm going to go ahead and give you my after 4th through 7th rounds. I would have had taken a 4th round pick in my no trades draft. Yes, Dan. Yes, I did mention LDA breaks. I showed off my stuff. I got it today, Dan. And it is badass. Keegan Ecker comes in and says, "What's up, JB? I am just talking." All right, as you know, I started my mock drafts with the last show. I did the first 3 rounds and I got through pick 97. Yeah, and I also got my little buddies too, Jared Goff and Levi O. So thank you. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the show, but I want to talk about my mock draft real quick. So, with my mock draft in the 5th round with pick 177, I have the Lions taking Amari Barno. The kid can fly, DN/edge linebacker, would look great in a 3-4. Great rotational pass rusher. He's a little on the raw side, but he is pure speed. Ran a 4.3 something at the combine. I would like to see him there at 177. He is currently considered the 191st prospect on the board, so I like him. At that point, at 177, when you got to pick at 181, you can grab another guy you need or want. It's a great idea. And then 4 picks later at 181, if he's there, I'm taking Bubba Bolden. If not, then I'm going to look towards probably another linebacker like Micah McFadden. Then we go all the way down to 217 at the end of the 6th round. And that's where you might be able to grab some depth. There's some nice interior O linemen, which it wouldn't hurt to grab another guard. We have seen some trouble. Jonah Jackson missed a couple games. Vaitai missed one with COVID. Wasn't an injury-related one. And that's more good news, is the NFL has completely removed all COVID protocols for the 2022-23 season. And then at 234, the guy that I would draft at 234 is Isaiah Weston out of Northern Iowa. He's another 4.3 guy. He's 6'4". He runs decent routes. He had a garbage QB, so his stats didn't look that great. That's somebody I would grab there and run. If he's there at 234, you grab him and run. If he's not there, you could go for the runner-up for the Blitnikoff Award in college. You could go for Javon Alai out of Coastal Carolina. Add some more depth to the wide receiver room. Not going to hurt. Both those guys had over 8s. As a matter of fact, Isaiah Weston had a 9.99 RAS. Because he's 6'3", he's 218 pounds. He's got a good frame to him. No, our defensive scheme is a 3-4 under, and we're going to run more 4-man fronts, is what they said. We haven't converted to a base 4-3. We've been a 3-4. It's actually looked more like a 5-2 because they've used DNs at the outside linebacker position. So it looks like you have 5 defensive linemen and 2 middle linebackers with 4 defensive backs, 2 corners on each side, and then the 2 safeties, unless they were in the dime or nickel. When they're in the dime or nickel, they've used 4-man fronts a lot. That's when you'd see more of Pennicini and Austin Bryant in there. Chris Bullen said, yep, it's really a 5-2. But now they're going to add in more 4-man fronts, which means we might be drafting a defensive tackle somewhere in this draft. And there's a huge guy, 6'6", 360 pounds, plays for a small school. And don't ask me how to pronounce his name. It's, for all I can know, it could be Ebenezer Ukulele. I don't know. I'd have to look him up again. But the guy is huge, just huge. Matter of fact, I got to look him up now. Because I drafted him in one of my mocks. Wasn't that one. Wow. It's Uwazurike. He's actually Nigerian. He's a defensive tackle out of Iowa State. I took him at 217. 6'6", 360. And that's fine with me as long as our defense gets better and they can run a goal line stand. Absolutely. We got torched in the running game on the goal line. It wasn't the passing game that killed us. It was not tackling at the goal line. I mean, that one game we saw the one guy be 3 yards out, get hit 6 times, and still get in. It was abysmal on how bad they tackled. We need athletic guys that can tackle. And one of the most athletic guys that's jettisoned up the board, he originally was like a 417th prospect. 2 weeks ago, he was the 118th prospect. Now he's sitting at 52. Troy Anderson. Which, do you take a wide receiver then at 34, or do you take Troy Anderson at 34? Because he's not going to make it to 66. And Leo Chanel's right behind him now, like in the 70s, which there's a chance he'll be there, but if there's a run on linebackers, he'll be gone. Now that I covered the last 4 picks of the draft, let's talk about Dan's draft game. He's got a little draft game on LDA breaks. Go over there. You can pretend to be GM. You say take a receiver at 34. I think there's some gems to be had later. I think you could, at 66, you could end up with George Pickens, Justin Ross. You could end up with even Sky Moore. Sky Moore has been back and forth on the draft board. I've seen him go as high as the first round in some mocks, and I've seen him go as low as the 5th round in some mocks. So it doesn't matter. And I'm not talking about mocks I picked. I'm talking about the draft analyst mocks. And you can't really look at his 40 time. Troy Anderson at 34 and safety at 32. Yes, Sinney, Brisker, or Hill. If they're there, any one of those 3, I'd be fine with at 32. Because Daxton Hill, he played the free safety, but he also played as an in-the-box safety, viper role linebacker. He also played as slot corner. He's listed as corner/safety now on the draft boards. I wouldn't mind him. But I prefer Louis Cini better because he's a pure, strong safety. If you don't take one at 2, you take it at 32. If let's say Hutch goes 1, they think about taking Thibs, but they take Kyle Hamilton. I don't like it at 2, but I understand it. It's one of the best players available that fills a need in the top 5. And he's considered the 5th to anywhere from the 4th to the 7th best prospect in this draft. And some say he's the best prospect in this draft. But what do I know? I'm just following what the big boards say. I've seen him be at 4, as high as 4 and as low as 7, but nowhere lower than that. I've seen Thibs fall all the way to 15 in one, and I've seen him be as high as 2 in another. So it really depends on whose big board you're looking at and how they value them. And that's the same for every big board with every network across the league and every draft prognosticator individually. All of them have different values for different players. I still think it's Evan Neal / Hutchinson / Thibs is the one. That's just the way it is. Thibs had a great pressure rate for 2.5 seasons until he fell off this past year. He had a great pressure rate. I'm not saying he's not talented. I just don't like the injury history. 100%. That, and in his last interview that I seen he said, I'm talented enough where I don't need to be coached to get better. That is one hell of a diva type attitude to have to deal with in the locker room, and it doesn't sound like a Dan Campbell type of guy, in my opinion, but what do I know? So what did you guys think of my 5th through 7th picks, those last 4 picks? Do you guys like those? Amari Barno? The only thing I'm not a fan of is that last statement and the injury history. If you look at what he did on the field, he's a player, he's a playmaker. Whoa, did not realize Thibs made those comments about not needing coaching to get better. Yes, he did. He just made those like in the last 2 days. I've seen it all over. It's pretty bad. I don't think we're going to take a guard till late, or possibly another UDFA. I mean, we got Tommy Kramer. We got Logan Stenberg. We've got Evan Brown, who plays guard and center. And all of them did well last year while players were hurt. So the only guy I didn't think did that well, there was Matt Nelson and then that Ryan McCullum. Both of them can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned, but Matt Nelson is there. That's a red flag type of comment by Thibs. Yes, it is. It's a very big red flag. Because Dan Campbell, Aubrey Pleasant, and Aaron Glenn are the hands-on type of coaches that will get in a player's face when they screw up, but will give them an attaboy pat on the back when they do well. They're good at that stuff. I mean, even look at Aubrey Pleasant when he, in that first game, when he dogged out of Okuda for missing that assignment on Deebo Samuel, but we are talking about Deebo Samuel, a top 10 wide receiver. And then he turns around and he gives him a hug. I know you're better than this. Do better. That's all he told him. He goes about the next play and he broke up that pass. The next play, he's in on a run play and gets tripped up with Kevin Strong, and both of them go down with Achilles tendons. It was horrible. The one was a strain and the one was a rupture, and the rupture was Jeff Okuda. He's played 11 games. I wouldn't call him a bust yet. He hasn't even played a full season of games. Because everybody says it takes playing 3 years at corner to adjust to the NFL. Well, if that's the case, and he's only played 11 games, he hasn't even played a full 16-game season, let alone a 17-game season. Means you got to give him time. He's got 2 years left on his rookie contract, and he's a first-round pick that you just can't dump because of the way the rookie salary caps are. Is anybody else excited for what's coming in a few days? I mean, it's April 12th. We are officially 16 days away from the draft. Whew. I'm getting excited. Yes, because this is our Super Bowl. It has been for the last, since 2000. This is the chance when we hope, if Brad Holmes does 80% as good as last year, this team makes a 20% jump minimum, if not a 100% jump in wins, but I mean a 20% jump in talent level. A 20% jump in talent level. You know what that means? I want this draft to happen so we can get the season started. Hey, I just out of curiosity, is tonight the first set of games for the USFL? Because I know I won't be watching Michigan Panthers. God, they had a horrible draft. How much time do you think Okuda needs? After all, he was part of the Quintricia time. He is the only one left from that time right now. No, that is not true. You got TJ Hawkinson, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Halaput, Vitai's still there. Let's see, who else is there? Quintus Cephas is still there. Jeff Okuda, Amani Oruware, Tracy Walker. Shall I go on? John Pennicini, Austin Bryant. All of those are from the Quintricia era, and they're still on the team, and they're still producing. Stephen King says he's pumped for the draft. A lot happening in sports in April. Okay. Yep, I say we give him this year and next also. You got to give him the 2 seasons because he hasn't even played a full season yet. And cornerback is one of the hardest positions to transition into the NFL. We used to say quarterback, but now we see rookies coming in and winning 10 games. So you can't say quarterback's one of the hardest positions to transition. I think it's cornerback, safety, possibly tight end, because you don't see, I mean, we've got quite a few good tight ends, but you don't see a lot of great tight ends every year in the draft. Nope. What's your feeling, Chris? And then I'll give mine. Go ahead. Type it out. If we end up drafting a cornerback in the later rounds, what do you think of Okuda moving to safety for a year or two? I don't think that's going to happen because he's already been back. He's been working with Aubrey Pleasant, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Trinity Benson, Josh Reynolds has even came in, and now DJ Shark's in the building. Tracy Walker's there helping him with coverages. I think he's going to have a better than average year, and I think he might have comeback player of the year if he has any type of good form and the Lions do well. Stenberg must guard Sheila's money because he don't guard anybody on the field. Okay, I'm gonna address that one here. Logan Stenberg had a problem coming out of college. He's too upright in pass protection, so he just gets blowed over by the more powerful DNs and powerful DTs here in the NFL. So unless he learns that proper knee bend and gets lower to get the leverage, because playing O-line is all about leverage. You got to get beneath your guy to get up and push him back. He doesn't do that in pass protection, but he's a road grader in the run blocking, as we saw, because he was the one that was blocking for Craig Reynolds and Godwin Igwebuike, or Igwebuike as I like to call him, because he can't hold on to the ball when he's hit. That's just abysmal. So Hank Freely's been working with him closely, trying to get him better. If he doesn't do it this preseason, if you don't see it, I have the feeling he will be a cut. That's just my opinion. I'm rooting for Okuda. He seems to be giving his all to get back on track. I like the hunger he is showing. So do I. I mean, they're talking 6 months to a year is an average recovery time for an Achilles tendon tear that has to be sewn together. He was back running and jumping after 6 months. That says a lot to his intestinal fortitude and his want and his love to play the game. I guess he's been in the film room every night. He's been out on the field 3 times a week, working with the guys, trying to get better, to learn his craft. I think AO earned the CB1 spot last year, the way he covered Adams, and I think he deserves it. I think Okuda's automatically going to come in as the 2, if he will be the 3, and then so on and so forth. The rest of them are just depth for the dime slot. That's just my opinion. unless we do the quarters defense, which, God, I hope we never do the quarters defense ever again, like Patricia ran with 1 D lineman, 2 linebackers, and a plethora of guys while the quarterback has 8 to 10 seconds to throw the ball. If we ever see that again, I'm going to pull what little bit of hair I got right out of my head. And I want to say good luck to my landlord who just left. He is going to the NBL World Championships, which is National Billiards League. He is going as a pro because he is a professional trick shot artist. He took a pro slot. He went. I wish him all the luck in the world. Yeah, because I play pool too, but I am nowhere near as good as him or even as good as Crush. I can win every now and then, but I'm not consistent enough. I'm working on it. But according to my Fargo rating, Chris, I should be able to play in your D plus and under bracket this weekend. Last season gave me a little hope for our Lions. Absolutely. Chris is not even commenting about my Fargo rate. Look it up. I'm a 443, Chris. Look it up on CSI. My Fargo rate's 443 with a robustness of over 100 games. Damn! 410 and under. That's blasphemy. I think when Swift went down and Williams played well, I like Jamar Jefferson. I think we have 3 decent running guys. We can get a guy like Tyler Batty if he falls. You're also forgetting Jamal Williams also went down at the same time that Swift went down. That's why we saw Reynolds break out for those 2 games. When Williams came back, I didn't think he earned the starting position. Reynolds was running better. I think they should have started Reynolds over Williams because he was running better. But that's just my opinion, because I think that was part of the reason why we slowed down there after that big game Reynolds had when he ran all over Minnesota and Arizona. And then all of a sudden we just fizzled for a second in the run game, which made us struggle against Atlanta and Seahawks and so forth. That, and we had possibly the worst backup quarterback I ever seen it through. No, I'm going to address the Van Noy one. Van Noy was a square peg in a round hole. He was a 3-4 linebacker in college that they put him onto a 4-3 base team. Chris Bowen says, yes, I feel Reynolds is playing better. Tomlinson, that's how Rick Mayhew got to be the assistant GM out in San Francisco. He goes, hey, John, I got a deal for you. Here, trade for this guy. Give me a 3rd round pick. You can have him. He's a 1st round pick. We took him 20th overall, but he fucking sucks. Tomlinson never got a fair shot because he had a bad game or 2, and then they pulled him and never started him again. It was just stupid. And then he goes to a Super Bowl with the 49ers. You know who else has been to a Super Bowl that was a Quinn pick that sucked? Tease Tabor. Zettel has been to a Super Bowl on the practice squad. The year we cut him, he went there and they went to a Super Bowl. He actually played in a couple of games and he got a couple sacks. I think it's a little of both. I think there's a lot of teams that are really high on Thibodeau and might trade up, and that's why they're doing due diligence. You have to remember there are 4 other players that are in this draft out of Oregon, and one of them is a very good safety in Verone McKinley, who very well could be picked in the 2nd or 3rd round. So it could be just due diligence going to send that many people because, yes, they sent 7 people out there. Guess what? Aubrey Pleasant was there. I'm firmly on board of getting rid of the trainer if we pile up injuries this year. Yes, we got rid of the one from the Quintricia era. This guy came in, but it was his first year with it. With all of the trades of free agents, who do you think is going to be worse in the NFC North? Darcy Melville comes in and says, what's up? Keegan Eckert, until they address that O-line, I don't see how Chicago is going to be any better. All they did was pick up a backup center from the Packers so far. Their best lineman last year was Jason Peters, who's 1 foot away from retirement. All he's got to do is slip on a banana peel and get hurt again, and he's done. Cody Whitehair was their 2nd best. That's abysmal. Just talking Lions football and little NFC North. I'm not going to trash talk, but I don't like that O-line for the Bears. Tevin Jenkins, I said it was a reach when they picked him. Melville, gotcha. Sorry. Melville. Been a long day. That being said, I think I'm going to sign off. Yeah, I thought they signed Pringle. I will most certainly trash talk the Bears. The Bears. Who else did they get? I know didn't they get Pringle? And EQ. You know, the taller, slower, with less hands, St. Brown brother. Equanimous St. Brown. Who couldn't make it on the Packers roster, who was mostly practice squad or their 5th receiver in an abysmal receiving core other than Devontae Adams. I don't think Alec Pierce makes it out of the 2nd round. He might. It depends on if there's a run on defensive or the run on quarterbacks in the 2nd round, like I think there will be. I think there'll be more quarterbacks picked in the 2nd and 3rd round than there is in the 1st round altogether. And that's just because a lot of teams will draft people for depth because they're project players. And that's just my opinion. I still think somebody's going to reach and take Willis in the 1st round. And I think it's either going to be the Panthers or the Commanders. I personally think Kenny Pickett should go 6th overall. I think Matt Corral should go 2nd because they are the most pro-ready quarterbacks coming out of this draft. Carson Strong would be pro-ready if he didn't have knees more brittle than Kerryon Johnson. PFF is a very good barometer, but the RES scores, if you look across the board, it's Troy Anderson, Leo Chanel. You know, I said about Thibs, he's very talented, but after he made the comment this weekend that I saw in an interview, I don't think he's a Dan Campbell type of player. He said he's talented enough. He does not need to be coached up to get better. I don't see how that's a Lions type of player. That's just me. I think that's a big red flag. A player's telling the coach he's uncoachable. What I like about Muma is he's excellent in pass coverage, but he tackles like Alex Anzalone. So I'm on the fence with him. He's great in pass coverage. Darcy says thanks. He's quick. He's not quite sideline to sideline, but he's quick. He's rangy. He's got good size. He's got good weight, but he tends to lunge tackle or dive at people's feet when running at a. He's suspect in the running game, which the same thing with Thibodeau. He's suspect in the running game. He does make tackles for loss because he just happens to be fast. It isn't because he has great technique. I don't think the Lions are going to take Corral. I think they're going to go all defense in the first round, Josephos. They're not taking a first round quarterback. They basically have already said they're not taking a quarterback early. Stop buying into the media. Richard Head says, thanks for answering my questions. I love the stream. I love answering questions. I think Devin Lloyd is the most complete overall. Scotty the Bear, how you doing, buddy? Who do you want calling the plays this year? To start the, I want it to be just like it was last season when it got better. I want Dan Campbell calling the plays with Ben Johnson drawing them up until Ben Johnson gets comfortable calling the plays, and then he can take over, whether it's this year or next year. I love that they're going to keep that same continuity that they had while they were successful at the end of the season. Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. What was that? Oh, you're talking about taking Corral. Okay. Maybe Tibbs is saying that nonsense to scare off teams he doesn't want to play for. That could be too. You know, I love the talent at Thibodeau. If the Packers don't get a receiver, we will have their number this year. Next year will be the first year in forever that we beat them 2 times in the season. I don't know about that because they still have that fantastic run game between Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They still got a good O-line. They still got a good defense because they were able to keep Devondre Campbell, which was actually a better pickup than Zadarius Smith, who they let go. Zadarius Smith, you want to know how you beat him? Run at him. That's it. He over-pursues and gets out of breath, and he can't catch somebody. And that's the same with Danielle Hunter. You run at him. I think we're going to split with the division and sweep. I like Daxton Hill better than Brisker. I like Cine better than both of them. Or Cine, however you say it. Lewis Cine out of Georgia. I think he's the best one out of those 3. But Daxton Hill can do more than what Brisker does, in my opinion. I think we will have the Packers number either way. I think if we get Aiden Hutchinson, I would love to see him pull a Sue move and stomp on Aaron's leg and take him out for the season. That's just me. I hate Karen Rodgers with a passion. Petre is interesting. He's tall. He has some frame, but he doesn't have real thick size. If I'm going to pick one in the 3rd through 5th rounds, the guy that I love, and I would love if we had a 4th round pick because it's who I would take in a heartbeat. Keegan Eckert says, I'm heading out, JB. Have a good night. You too, Keegan Eckert. We will talk again because I'm coming back on Thursday. I would like to see a couple other guys cop in. If anybody wants to be on the show with me, say it in the comments. I'll shoot you a message. If you're on YouTube, send me an email. My email is Smokin Jeremy, kneecap biting with Smokin Jeremy B at gmail.com. Just send me an email. I think with a good draft, Lions can compete for the NFC North and potentially 2nd, maybe 1st if things go their way. Smoke. Yeah. So you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. And I will see you Thursday, somewhere around 7:30, 8 o'clock time, because I'm working until 6. It's hard to get right on. I would love Chris Bolin to hop on Thursday. I would love to talk some football with him because he's my bud. I've known him for a few years. He's known my brother forever. They went to school together. I'd like to have Adam on. But Adam's not a happy Lions fan. He's mad they traded Stafford even though he asked for it. Well, I smoke cigarettes, but Stephen King, you were great when you were on with me. You can come on again too. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. Looking forward to talking to you then. Until then, just remember, try each day to be a better person than you were the day before, and you'll make the world a better place. Have a good evening.